Like many people, I hopped back into Half-Life 2 for the 20th anniversary, and man, it made me feel a lot of things. I actually hadn't played it in all these 20 years. I played it when it came out. I loved it, and it was revolutionary, but I replayed maybe half of it, and it just wasn't something that got me hooked. That came later with Fear, which is a game I obsessed over for a while, and I just forgot about Half-Life 2. And it's crazy that after 2 decades, I can jump back into this game and remember it all so clearly. It's a testament to how impressive it was when it came out. It really left a mark. People talk all the time about the groundbreaking physics it introduced with all the environmental interactivity. But what really struck me, going through all this again, was the intuitive level design and the lack of blatant player guidance. We've gotten so used to games holding our hands every step of the way, mindlessly walking towards objective markers, arrows on the screen telling us where to go, button prompts on every interactable object, tutorials popping up to tell us everything we need to know, and the latest craze that everyone has their panties in a bunch about, yellow paint. And there may be some pushback, but over time we just accept this stuff. It becomes the normal way that everyone makes their game. Instead of games having intelligently designed experiences to naturally teach us the mechanics, the teaching process seems to be an afterthought, an inconvenience to have to implement into the game. The opening levels of Half-Life 2 are a masterclass in player education, and I'd like to walk you through everything I noticed about how it teaches new players how to play. First is the lack of a HUD in the beginning. Half-Life has a minimal HUD in general, but the beginning shows nothing on screen regarding health values, stamina, etc., which allows the understated tutorial prompts on the right to be both unintrusive and obvious, because they're the only thing on screen, and their orange color with a subtle shadow effect creates a great contrast against a lot of the opening level's bluish-green environments. As you're moving along, they regularly present you with different actions that require the press of the action key, and all these actions are different. Going up a ladder, moving a box so you can climb it and go through a window, even just having a door slightly cracked open that you may initially try to just push by walking, and when it doesn't move, you instinctually press the action button to see if that works, and it does. There's a guard at the gate that tosses garbage at you and tells you to pick it up. Not just further reinforcing how oppressive this world is, but getting you to again see that environmental interaction is possible, for big things like boxes and for small objects as well. You can put the trash in the trash can or throw it at the officer and run past him as he comes after you. Half-Life 2 gets you in the habit of interacting with the world long before any combat occurs, and this interactivity doesn't just enhance the gameplay, it enhances your immersion in the world. Once you finally make it outside, the size of the area may feel intimidating. So many places to go, so many buildings with doors to check. And this is where you notice another really smart detail. The first door you try won't open, and it has this big mechanical lock on it. Therefore, any door you see with this lock on it can't be opened, and being able to immediately visually identify locked doors from a distance saves the player from their own instinct of checking every door obsessively. You don't have to walk up to every door and try to open it, you can just keep moving at a brisk pace while checking off doors from afar. A dead end eventually draws your attention to a ladder, without being told to look at it. There's no splash of yellow paint here or arrows. It's just a well-crafted situation to make you think about what to do next, and you notice something that makes sense. Several cracked open doors make you want to see what's inside. This is the game toying with the player's curiosity. And it's more psychologically satisfying than just having the one path or the one open door to go through. Yes, technically that is still the case, there's only one way you can go, but the game has your mind thinking about what you see, what you can do, wondering if you could possibly go another way. Once you do make it inside an apartment, you head upstairs as you hear radio chatter amongst the guards. The game startles you with a loud banging noise and the guards knocking on a door to inspect someone's room. A nervous onlooker's hanging out of a doorway on your right. The guards kick in the door and one of them steps forward to face you, making it clear they don't want you coming this way. So you step into the man's room to see several people looking out the window and talking. You haven't gotten much information at all by this point, so you're instantly curious about what they're saying and looking at. Soldiers coming into the area by way of an assault vehicle. There's only one way to go, out the next door back into the hallway full of guards. Terrifying idea. But when you get there, they're all gone. All of them are in the room they're inspecting, and a part of your brain wonders if you can actually go in there. No, a guard is at the door urging you to move along. Again, these moments of curiosity help make the linearity more interesting. A room on your right grabs your attention with two people sitting on a sofa dealing with the trauma of this forced inspection, one comforting the other saying it's going to be okay. As you explore the area to see if there's another way to go, this is the first time you've been able to actually go off the path, so you're gonna go in here. The designers know this and they use it as an opportunity to deliver some good world building. Our way forward is the gloomily lit staircase at the end, whose color evokes a new feeling in the player, as it's very different from the bright yellows of the staircase we came in from at the other end. A guard at the bottom of the stairs means you can't go down, and another blocking the hallway says you can't go back. Upstairs it is. And when you get there, a man summons you towards him, so you enter his room, and he says you gotta get to the roof, as a bunch of guards flood in and start beating everyone in the room. This panic situation naturally pushes you forward. No objective markers needed. No text on the screen saying get to the roof. It's just in your instincts to run away from something like this, so you do. Reaching the stairs, more guards run up to your position, continuing to force you along the path upwards, until a man helps you out by closing the door behind you, telling you to keep going. Now, you might stop here to test the game's limits. Can I stand here forever and see if the guards actually knock down the door? Yeah, sure enough, this just goes on and on. But in the game's defense, I believe it's because immediately after this, there's a loading zone, and they don't want you crossing into a loading zone with enemies on your ass. But you head up into the attic, and you hear the door crash down. If you hang around long enough, the guards will come in, shooting at you, which makes you want to get out way more. There's only one way out, the opening at the end. You continue the tense escape sequence, crawling along the edge of the apartments, feeling like Neo in the office scene of The Matrix, following the linear path, but still thinking about every step, until you come to a dead end. Any further and you'll fall. Officers are shooting at you. Where do you go? Ah, the windows are open. Hop in and suddenly you feel safe. Head down the wooden stairs, but they break under the pressure. No way back up, and now you're ambushed. To then be saved by Alex, the masterful creation of Valve, a character that truly raised the standard for NPC performances. She moves and speaks believably, and very importantly, she does this outside of her scripted activities. She adjusts to your movements close to how a real person would, and this got me thinking, how far have we fallen in this aspect of animation? If you'll allow me a moment to throw some more shade at Bloober's Silent Hill 2 remake, how do we go from a character in 2004 perfectly tracking you as she speaks, her posture and position adjusting accordingly and smoothly, to Maria in 2024 who moves like a robot, shimmying to the side whenever you move around her, talking while staring into nothing just because you don't stand still. Ugh. Anyway, Alex takes you to the secret laboratory where you get your power suit and meet the doctor who has built a teleportation device. And when Alex steps into it, one of the cables comes loose, and you have to pick it up and put it back in. Valve showing off their new interactivity a little more. And then the scientist tells you to go ahead and hit the switch. Again, notice there's no blinking icon on the switch, it's just intuitive. He said hit the switch, and even if you don't know where the switch is and start looking around the room, checking the area next to the power cable you just plugged in comes to you as a very logical idea. There's a red switch right there, and there is no need for an interaction prompt. You don't see a little hand or text popping up to say press E to flip the switch. The game has already programmed you through the opening sections to try to interact with the world automatically, so you flip the switch without any need for additional help. And to some gamers, I'm sure this seems like I'm nitpicking aspects of other games, but I'm serious when I say that this kind of intuitive design that puts a lot of trust in the player leads to a more enjoyable and immersive experience because you're not being told what to do all the time. You're just doing it naturally because the game has intelligently been crafted in a way to make you think the way it needs you to think. I'm not saying all games that don't do this are bad, but I don't think it's ridiculous to say that we don't need games to be blatantly telling us to press the action button every time we come up on a door. If you need to differentiate between interactable objects and non-interactable objects, instead of using pop-ups and button prompts, use better art direction to draw the player's attention to the object you want them to investigate. Lighting, effects, and yes, camera angles, just like in the movies, can be used to make players notice important things without needing to put icons on them for fear that they won't see them. Once you've teleported to the next zone, you reach a doorway outside blocked by boards. Interacting with them does nothing, and there's nowhere else to go, so you go back the way you came, thinking maybe you missed something. But a voice calls out to you from behind, so you go back and there's your buddy tossing you a crowbar. The game does not stop to tell you, use the crowbar to break boards, boxes, and other things. Also, it can be used as a weapon. It doesn't tell you that. You're just curious enough at this point to try using it on the boards, and they break. You come up to a box, and you can jump over it, but you think, I wonder if I can break boxes too. Yes, you can. Then, for the first time in the game, the music kicks in. Energetic electronic music. And it's not just the energy and the tempo that motivates you to get moving, it's also the musical key. The song is riding on a G flat and only moving up half a step to a G, giving that sense of paranoia and danger. It's used a lot in metal songs to give a menacing feel, but if you don't know music theory that much, you may also recognize this pattern from Jaws. Or from Venkman trying to make a spooky vibe in Dana's apartment.
I hate this.
Now you can hear it in the music in this moment. This music is communicating danger, complementing the officers shooting at you from high ground, and you have a sense of not knowing exactly how to navigate around these train cars. Where are you supposed to go? No icons needed or yellow paint, just some well-placed lighting to contrast with the environment. That tells you where to go. Oh, did you not break that box earlier? You just jumped over it? Well, now you're gonna break some boxes because we need you to learn that that's important. Hey, if I'm breaking things with the crowbar, can I kill this annoying-ass flying robot? Yes, he's dead. We finally make our way up to the roof of a train car, just to get shot at by a bunch of soldiers on the right. So we're pushed in the opposite direction, clearing a gated fence, leading us to a dark hallway, which has us asking how we're supposed to see. Right there on the screen, we get the button command for flashlight. Simple, got it. And they make it so dark that you can't see anything around you, pushing the player hard not to ignore the flashlight button. The next hallway shows us a health refill station on the left wall, and we learn to heal ourselves. A woman calls out for help in the distance, so we pursue and find two officers harassing her and her partner. Time to put the crowbar to use. And when we put the guards down, we pick up the pistol, and now it's game on. Can I break boards with the pistol? Yes, but it takes a lot of bullets. Still good to know. And you know what's kind of brilliant about this? They could have left these boards off. I mean, is it really that important to show that a bunch of bullets will eventually break one board? Well, let me show you a very possible sequence of events. The player picks up the pistol, using it a little against the guards, and then fires at the boards, wasting a bunch of ammo. And now they're thinking, how do I get more ammo? Do I look for boxes? Are there refill stations? Do I get ammo from dead enemies? Do I gotta kill someone with a chain? And once they get past the boards, they're confronted with an enemy on the stairs. They use the rest of their ammo, get the kill with the crowbar, and walk over the enemy's body, automatically picking up the ammo, which automatically pulls out the pistol and reloads it. The player's ammo question has been answered quickly in the next room. This won't happen to everyone, but it will happen to many casual players who maybe miss a few shots and try to break a board, which I imagine is plenty of people. It's just a smart series of events that gives you a little more information about how the game works. Another interesting bit about this section is the dark space at the bottom of the stairs, because you just learned about the flashlight from the previous staircase, and if you carelessly left your flashlight on the whole time, it's very likely it'll run out by the time you get here, which teaches you that the flashlight energy runs out. Another mechanic learned naturally, no need to explain this. We also have smart sound cues telling us about our ammo situation. Picking up ammo makes a real crispy collecting sound. Reaching a low ammo count plays a distinct beeping sound, really unlike anything else in the game's world. Reaching the outside again, we have 3 orange barrels with the word flammable on them. Obviously, these will explode when shot. And we come up on our first puzzle, kind of. The train tunnel is blocked at both ends by a force field, so we can't go that way. The only possible path is this platform on the other side, but there's no way to get to it. The game wants you to figure out that you can jump across the train as it passes. Yes, if you wait long enough, the train will eventually stop, but they are beginning to send the message that there will be things to figure out in this game. Just in case you didn't experiment with the explosive barrels on your own, or managed to not accidentally hit them during the gunfight, to make sure you realize that these exploding barrels are something you can use, they barricade a door with them. We come across our first supply box, which is big, obvious, and is alone with nothing else to visually distract from it. We remember that it takes a long time for pistols to break something, so we switch back to the crowbar. More guards are up ahead, and the game brilliantly obscures them behind the gated fence texture. This makes the color of the exploding barrels a clear beacon that you naturally focus on, killing the enemies behind them. I mean, are you seeing that this level is just smart moment after smart moment, teaching you everything you should be doing and looking out for? People are learning so much outside of the explicit tutorials, and it's so smoothly baked into the experience, they don't even realize they're learning. Eventually we make it to another dead end where we're told to crouch, making our way through an air duct that's blocked by a supply crate. Again, like the boxes blocking your way in the train car, this is a failsafe to make sure players learn something crucial about this experience. The placement of this box is smart for 2 reasons. 1, it protects the occasional player that runs past the first supply box. For as obvious as it is, someone is gonna miss it for whatever reason, and it's important they learn about supply boxes. So they're forced to break one that's right in their face screaming supply box, and it's full of goodies. And 2, since it's a box, your instinct is to pull out the crowbar and break it instead of wasting ammo, which puts you in the position of already having the crowbar in your hand when you approach the breakable vent at the end of the air duct, which helps you break out much faster as enemies are coming in to shoot you. At the end of the walkway, there's nowhere to go but down, but do you take fall damage in this game? There hasn't been a pop-up to tell us, so we don't know. Just gotta jump and find out. We take a little bit of damage, and now we've learned that fall damage does exist, but it's not too bad, meaning that taking short falls is gonna be part of this game's exploration, and you don't have to worry too much about damage if you think you should jump down somewhere to try something out. Just a few steps down the train tunnel and we see a guard rolling a burning barrel towards us. We run for cover, or shoot the barrel quickly enough to stop it. And now we think, hey, someone threw a barrel at me, how about I throw a barrel at them? Coming out of the tunnel, we have guards coming at us from the front and back. We gotta get out of here. There's an opening in the gate leading to a door, but the door's locked. Looks like we're diving into the water. I hope we can swim. And right here we've learned something else. Water doesn't kill you like it does in some games. And there's a swimming mechanic, so that'll probably be part of exploration later. You get into a train car where a man and a creature are at a lookout station for the Underground Railroad, and they tell you where to find it. And let me just say, the way they space out these story moments makes them 100 times more engaging than games that just bombard you with story moments and especially notes. Longtime viewers of my channel know that I can't stand when games are trying to deliver story and lore through long notes every 2 minutes. And here in Half-Life 2, this whole time we've had 0 notes. All the story has been absorbed through environmental storytelling and occasional brief character moments, outside of the long sequence with the main characters in the lab. Meeting these guys at this point, after so much time alone, is refreshing and makes you interested in what they have to say, which isn't much, but you want to hear whatever it is, and that makes the reveal of them being lookouts for a path to some underground organization much more compelling. Then we get a real classic moment, the introduction of the barnacle, its sticky tentacle hanging down waiting for prey, as we see a crow fly right into it and get sucked up. We've learned exactly what this threat is by seeing what it does right in front of our faces. And if you screw around and get caught, that's on you. You'll figure out that you can shoot it on the way up because that's your instinct to fight. You make your way into a more open space in this recessed area, a man calling for help in the tunnel behind bars. He gets shot by a guard far in the distance, and you hear another shot over on the left side. Out in the open, there's a turret spraying bullets your way, guaranteed death. And in the panic, you'll notice an opening to the tunnel, illuminated by a single red light, which contrasts beautifully with the rest of the environment to draw your attention to this escape. You're suddenly in the pitch black darkness, with an enemy coming towards you, which tests your knowledge and reactions to quickly turn on the flashlight. You come out behind the manned turret to see a conveniently placed explosive barrel behind them. Can't pass up that opportunity. Then, of course, we have to see if this game will let us use the turret, which of course it does. We find ourselves in a bit more of combat, where we further see the power of explosive barrels, blowing up the base of a bridge, killing everyone in the collapse. In case you missed the crow getting caught in the barnacle, and you think you have to shoot all of them to pass, they put a barricade of barrels right in front of you. And whether you push your way through, or you pick up a barrel and drop it, either way, the barrel will roll all the way to the barnacles in front of you, showing you that barrels can be used to trigger the tentacles. Isn't that so much better than a tutorial telling you about it? They just make it naturally occur as a consequence of you pushing a barrel to get through the entrance. It's beautiful. And of course, since you just saw that a barrel can get sucked up by a barnacle, they put an explosive barrel around the corner with a group of barnacles, allowing the player to deduce that they could get an explosive barrel trapped in a tentacle and send it up to kill all of them. Just don't do it up close like I did, because I'm an idiot. The next part has us diving underwater, showing how useful it can be to avoid damage from exploding barrels and gunfire, and we're faced with more faraway enemies, making the barrels a very attractive and fun option. We find a space through a tunnel with the first physics puzzle of Half-Life 2, a simple exercise in using weights to tip the balance and allow us to get high enough to get out. Beyond here, the action ramps up and you start seeing all the stuff you learned combined together. This has all been a giant learning experience. I'm gonna leave the video here. It's not that there's nothing else to talk about in this topic, but I've gone on long enough. If you've never played Half-Life 2, you must. It's one of the greatest games ever made and holds up exceptionally well 20 years later. Thanks for watching!